Sunday's storms were pretty rambunctious. They led to the first tornado watch in western New York in over a year and a half. But how were those storms, or really any storm, like this cookie? Find out in this week's Heather's Weather Wise. Yep, I said it. Thunderstorms are like cookies. If you've ever tried to bake a batch of cookies, you know you need to follow a recipe with some basic ingredients. Thunderstorms have several basic ingredients as well. The eggs, butter, and sugar you use to start a cookie equate to the moisture, lift, and instability needed to start a thunderstorm. On Sunday, there was plenty of moisture, most of it a few thousand feet above our heads, so it didn't feel humid to us. The lift came from this area of low pressure moving right over Lake Erie. As for the instability, that came when the sky cleared out over the Ohio Valley and the sun there sent temperatures up really fast. The atmosphere started to pop pretty quickly after that. But if you were outside at all during the day on Sunday, you might have thought the same thing I did. It just didn't feel like a big thunderstorm day. Temperatures were in the 40s in the northern half of western New York. Jamestown finally made it to 64 degrees just ahead of the storms moving in later in the evening. But there was none of that summertime heat and humidity that a lot of us expect on a big storm day. Back to the cookie analogy. Now that basic recipe is all well and good, but you usually need a special ingredient or two to take things up a notch. In the case of the cookie, at least this time, it's a chocolate chip. In the case of a thunderstorm, to make things interesting, that special ingredient is wind shear, or winds changing direction or speed very quickly over a short distance. All you had to do was look up on Sunday to see proof. 5,000 feet above our heads, the clouds were racing on a 50-mile-per-hour southwest wind, but on the ground, we were feeling a 20-mile-per-hour wind from the northeast. The extreme amount of turning of the winds with height is what allowed these storms to line up and stay in a line long enough to produce a powerful outflow. We feel that outflow as that initial strong burst of wind as strong thunderstorms arrive. That outflow caused a lot of tree damage in Chautauqua County. The wind was one thing, but holy hail! Hailstones nearly tennis ball sized fell in Chautauqua County. That would have almost been considered impressive in the plains, and it's certainly not a common occurrence here. The temperatures being relatively low were actually a big factor here, because in the case of Sunday, the level of freezing throughout the atmosphere was lower than what it would have been on a hot summer day. That means as the hailstones were moving up and down in the storm's updrafts and downdrafts, they were staying frozen longer and able to pick up more size before falling. So there you have it, a recipe for strong thunderstorms that come in many different flavors. That'll do it for this week's edition of Heather's Weather Wise. I'll see you next week with a new topic, but until then, remember, it's good to be a geek.